We apologize for a little bit of tardiness right there. I am sorry about that. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. What is up? Well, for LSU football, it is summer workouts. That is what's up, as well as these weird, bizarre toy maracas all over the floor here. Yeah, we have a weird midweek um, off work for 2 days type of break thing here, and it's already getting too hot for the sweater. Even with the AC cranked inside, I'm like, what am I doing with this sweater on? Like, it felt good in the morning, and now it's like, what am I doing? It's just simply too hot. How's everybody doing in Louisiana, in Texas? We know we have some viewers in Louisiana, a ton of viewers in Louisiana. We know we have some in Texas. We know we have some in Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. How is everybody doing throughout the South right now, throughout the Southwest? A few here in Utah, in our native Utah, of course. Let's see what kind of questions we've got, and we'll load everything up. Everybody, definitely post your questions there in the comments section. Looks like we've got a few already. Here we go. Bruce Douglas. We'll just start this one up already. He says, "What is up, LSU Odyssey?" Yes, my name is LSU Odyssey. I have, after years, successfully won a court case to name myself LSU Odyssey. And, Juan Philip Sullivan is no more. We have been rebirthed as a new technology, a new form of technology entitled LSU Odyssey. Bruce, aka Pope Francis, I guess that is. Oh my God, yeah, that's a picture of Pope Francis there. Dig your show. I really like Nussmeier and think he can be that next LSU Heisman. It feels like you agree, but I'm not sure. Don't you agree? Do I? I wonder how many pieces of our content this guy's watched, or how many articles that we've written on Nussmeier. But that's something I really would like to know, because if he had watched even just 2 shows ago, we were dissecting Nussmeier's film from the Wisconsin game, with all of you kind of chirping in, saying, this kind of side of the whole thing or that side of the whole thing, really giving a very cool perspective on Nussmeier's performance in that game, and putting it in the right type of context. Yes, it was a bowl game, but look at the numbers. I mean, he was beating Jaden Daniels' numbers. He had 5 big time throws. Jaden Daniels' season high that year was 4. Last year, in a Heisman winning year, the most big time throws Jaden Daniels had in a single game was 4. Garrett Nussmeier had 5 in that game. 5. And 2 double-digit comeback deficits. Sorry, two double-digit comebacks. Down 14 points, 14-point deficits at 2 different points in this game, early and late. With a lot of pressure in his face, and he would manipulate those pressures, use the protections, even if the offensive linemen were driven back, kind of the angle they were coming at him, he would manipulate that, move up in the pocket, fade away to the left or to the right, and then re-platform. Everything was with purpose. It was sharp, and there was a lot of times he was scurrying away for 4 or 5 yards, getting chunk plays, dumping it off to the tight ends, to the running backs very quickly, no hesitation, just quick release. I mean, there's a lot about Garrett Nussmeier I think that is overlooked, and I think that Wisconsin was actually the highest ranked defense we played all of last season, and Nussmeier did that in an adverse situation where you don't have your offensive coordinator. You got new offensive coordinator. I understand it was Joe Sloan. I understand it's Cortez Hankton, people he's well acquainted with. Still, still, it just for me, you have to applaud what Nussmeier has done. That game, I knew it would be used against him by you know, Nussmeier haters or whatever, people who don't want Nussmeier to start, people who want Nussmeier to fail because it makes, I guess, it makes other quarterbacks in their mind, guys that they like more, look better, whatever. But for whatever reason, not wanting Garrett Nussmeier to succeed, it's usually rooted in a bunch of BS about him being a turnover happy gunslinger. He had one turnover worthy play, according to Pro Football Focus. It did end up being an interception in the game, but it was way down from what it was before. Um, and you'll live with that when he's throwing 4 touchdowns already that game and throwing for over 400 yards. Um, it's it was a masterful performance. The more and more and more I watch it, and the more and more I dissect it, and the more and more I go, this is what can be possible. So this is why I'm worried. But so many times in LSU history, and I'm not saying this is going to end up like that. In fact, I think it absolutely will not. But the fact that we've had so many times in LSU history where we've had a great leader at quarterback, a great guy at quarterback, a great talented quarterback, a guy who just fills and checks every box in the book, and then a series of just happenstance just takes him down, takes him out, and their career becomes something else than anyone would have ever expected. I can't say he's the next Heisman, though. I mean, that's kind of a little crazy to say without anybody way so early. I mean, he's going to be the Heisman. I mean, like, there was some feelings about Jaden Daniels being able to be up for every award in the book, right? He was. And it felt like there was a path that was there, not only because he was so good, but also because you looked at who else was the competition. And it was like there wasn't some perfect Alabama quarterback that Alabama has the winning percentage. They're going to win the SEC West. They're going to the SEC title game. They're going to the playoffs. They're probably going to win the title. So we're going to give this guy or this guy the Heisman. There was no guy like that for Alabama, and there's no season like that for Alabama. And Jaden Daniels was just simply so video game perfect, so video game incredible, just automatic. You would see him start to make a run some direction, and he would be like 11 yards away from the first down. But you would know just the second he changed direction, oh, yeah, he's got that first down now. You literally could look away and bet that he would get it. He would be right. He was just simply so fast and just chews up the yards. Let's hope he never suffers any big type of injury that takes any of that pace away, because it's transcendental stuff what you're saying from big names. And that's why I'm just worried that Garrett Nussmeier might not be always judged by how well he plays the game, but how well he plays the game in comparison to others. And it's never going to be fair when you're talking about different offenses now. This is going to be kind of an offense probably established within the same principles, the same values of my Denbrock's offense, but Sorry, I need my water. I expect it to be a lot more like a West Coast flavored offense. You know, we might be beating teams with death of a thousand cuts type, you know, strategies where we're going to dink and dunk you down the field and then hit you on the big play when you least expect it. Tons of the running game, tons of just feeding the ball to the running back and just letting the offensive line just maul fools up front. I think you're going to see a lot of plays where these offensive line are going to be pulling, as we've been told, out into space, blocking guys into the first, second level for guys like Caleb Jackson, Josh Williams. And now, as we found out, John Emery Jr., Caden Durham as well coming onto campus, Malachi Lane, who's always overlooked, but Malachi Lane is someone who could really, I mean, yeah, you want to feel like you've got a deep running back room there, and I think just because people aren't aware of how good Malachi Lane is doesn't mean that we discount him. You've got Malachi Lane as well. He's been a freak in spring. He's not a perfect running back. Not it's hard to say who has the highest level ceiling when you're talking about him in comparison to some other running backs on the roster. Obviously, you got Trey Holly and his home run hitting ability, his just ability to rack up the yards. I mean, he put up the only game where he really got an opportunity, Trey Holly, he had over 100 yards. It was SEC Freshman of the Week score. So, has 68-yard touchdown run or something against Army. So, like, we cannot overlook what someone like Trey Holly is capable of doing. I think it's a shame what's happened to him. Who knows when he'll be back? I am not totally like he's not going to play this season. I haven't totally thrown that completely away, that possibility. But the fact that his case was harshly, cruelly postponed due to a conflict of interest, the fact that LSU went after a few guys, go after John Emery Jr., get John Emery Jr. to stay, that tells me they are expecting. I mean, this is their decision. So right now, their decision is not to reinstate Trey Holly as a member of the football team. While he'll still be an LSU student, still be enrolled in the school, he will not be playing with football because he is unresolved charges, and that really tough to swallow for people who are big supporters of Trey Holly. But that's where it's at, and I just think you've got weapons. Wow, we went down a big rabbit hole of Trey Holly. But I guess I'm trying to say you've got a lot of weapons. Even without a guy like Trey Holly, we've made up for that loss with Jonathan Jr. And now you've got Malachi Lane, who's been showing up really well. And you've got all these walk-ons as well. These walk-on running backs, four of them that Frank Wilson brought in, all of them looked really good in spring. At least they're violent runners and they're attacking, the next level. And they're running with purpose. So at least if you give them the football, you're stuck in a situation, they're going to get you at least something positive. So I think you surround Nussmeier with enough talent to win, right? Mason Taylor, tight end, probably the best, deepest tight end room LSU's ever had. You're talking about Trey'Dez Green, a generational freshman talent who might be the all-time record holder someday in LSU history for tight end records, and he's probably going to be the fourth string guy, at least upon entering fall camp. And that's crazy because you've got Mason Taylor, who's going to be the all-time LSU record holder. for tight end records by the end of his LSU career. He's very close to already breaking those records, all held by Richard Dixon. Touchdowns, yards. Mason Taylor will have all of those. You got Mac Markway. You got plenty of defensive length as well. You've got a really nice endless supply of receiving talent too, where these guys are going to up their game for Georgia, I think. When it's not working, it's not going well. He is going to demand, and he's got enough ammunition on the bench, on the sidelines to be like, hey, man, you are not cutting it. Get onto that sideline. Boom. You're in the game. And really just change things up like that. Aaron Anderson, you're dropping a few passes. You don't like what you're doing. You're not running crisp routes, showing us everything we saw in 2022, or sorry, 2023. We're putting Xavier on it. And so Xavier Thomas goes to the game in the slot. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Chris Hilton Jr., Tyron Lacey, you're not fulfilling your end of the deal here. You're not ascending that next level. CJ Daniels transfer, who just went for over 1,000 yards and double-digit scores at Liberty. One of only, I think, like 10 different receivers in all of college football who can say they went for over 1,000 yards and 10 plus touchdowns, two of which obviously played for the Tigers last year, and subsequently first-round picks. So we're saying that there is a lineage here of greatness at receiver, and it's abundant, it's obvious. I don't have to tell you, but let's just tell each other again. LSU are just always going to be so fun at receiver, so fun to watch at receiver. And LSU has always been fun to watch receiver. I'm thinking about like the Malachi Dupree days, Traven Durrell, like those guys. And think about what would have happened have we actually fully unleashed dudes like that. You know, it's just very strange that now we start rolling in the quarterbacks to take advantage of this pass catching talent. And man, Garrett Nussmeier is that. He defines that. He's been waiting for this moment. You can't take it from him. You take it from Garrett Nussmeier, you're basically spitting in the face of all you just said as Coach Kelly. Like if Coach Kelly says, "Well, you've waited your turn, you've done everything right, you didn't transfer, you didn't have to get paid NIL money to stay, all this stuff, you just stayed for pure love of the team and for LSU, and now we're going to take this chance from you." That would be so hypocritical, and Kelly's not going to do it. They are all in with Nuss. Don't even think about other quarterbacks this season unless, I'm not even going to say it, but unless something happens, you know what I'm saying? Then Ricky Collins, Colin Hurley. I'd put in Colin Hurley. Would be AJ Swan. Would be expected to play a part, but really it's all about Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier is the dude. Garrett Nussmeier is the man that can lead LSU back to that promised land that Joe Burrow took us to, that Jaden Daniels gave us a taste of until our defense kept, ruining the recipe every damn time. Hermload says, "Is Caleb the starter?" I think it doesn't really matter if he's the starter or not. I think Caleb will get enough reps. He will rush for enough yards. I think Caleb will have 800 to over 1,000 yards this season, and especially if LSU. Oh my god! I wonder if people actually heard that. That was funny. Wow, that was funny. Especially if one of these other running backs who just come on the team, say, or just come to emergence, say Malachi Lane, he gets fewer reps. Say, even Josh Williams, something. Say like Josh Williams isn't able to overcome an injury or something, or Trey Holly, of course, isn't reinstated. Caden Durham isn't quite ready in Frank Wilson's eyes. All of that just equals more on the shoulders and more trust and more responsibility and just more of the football for Caleb Jackson, and he can handle the load. He can handle the load, but you've got options at running back. It's deep, as we just barely talked running back a lot, in our last response to that last question, and we actually outlined that LSU have the option now, especially bringing in John Emery. It's about how are we gonna use these options? What are we gonna do when the game is on the line? You're on the 3-yard line. It's not like you can do that, bootleg scramble and it's automatic with Jaden Daniels' legs, but it's automatic as well if he can throw it to a rolling Mason Taylor wide open. So you got the defense screwed with a play like that because they have to respect Jaden's legs, but they have to respect his arm in that moment as well. And usually they get so afraid of the legs, they suck up, and then Jaden Daniels makes that bulleted throw. And he was able to pull that off, as you saw in the last seconds of the Alabama game. You know, I shouldn't say the last seconds; it was overtime, but it was the last play, 2-point conversion. So you're going to have a guy who doesn't. He's not going to be running the football at quarterback, except for when he's in a bind, has to make a play, has to get some yards from play, everything breaks down, has to escape. So there's so much more importance on the running backs this season, a much more traditional offense you're going to see. It's going to be interesting. Firm load. Any injuries in workouts? Uh, Head to LSUODYSSEY.com to see about that. Once Chester Langston was kind of a weird question, at least in my mind. Who is our starting secondary in your mind right now? Bro, here's one thing that you've got to know about where the team's at right now. And I think this is a great question because of this. This team is in a spot right now where there's so much. How do I say this? There's a lot of potential. Three, possibly four different guys could be at each different position on this team. You could see a variety of starters at corner. You could see a variety of different guys at the other corner spot. At safety, there's a number of candidates now who've really thrown their hat in and said, I should be that guy. Before it seemed like it was gonna be Jordan Gilbert at strong, Sage Ryan at free, with Major Burns at star. Now, I mean, really, there's a few different options there. Sean McBride, the true freshman, has said, "You don't want to overlook me at this spot." Kylan Jackson. Kylan Jackson was awesome in the spring, and Kylan Jackson is a player that I feel LSU Odyssey need to cover even more. I feel like we covered him so much in high school that because we just didn't hear his name enough, he was a player that we almost forgot was on the team last year until he started playing. And it's just because I'm one person, and it's impossible to know everybody, know everything at every single time, as much as I try to. Um, Kylan Jackson was. It's not that I forgot that he was on the team. To be real here, I'm just simply saying that you'd be like, "Oh yeah, Kylan Jackson. My God, we actually do have some really damn good players at safety. Why aren't we using them?" Last year we're playing Andre Sam and Major Burns in these positions, and we're just getting just ripped apart every game and scored on a ton. With Major Burns allowed 6 catching touchdowns himself. 6. And so he's coming back. You have to get him out of a position where he could potentially be in coverage. The star position can be that pathway. You know what I'm saying? But you don't necessarily have to just do one thing with Major Burns, or just only Major Burns plays the star. You could have Harold Perkins play the star, so then you could have Whit Weeks and Greg Penn the third on the field. You can do different things with the star position where okay, we know these are basically going to be running, solid type plays. We're going to run big here. We call it big and small. So you go with Burns at safety when it's small, meaning you're going to be defending the pass more likely on these plays. And then you go big with Perkins at star, which he's more than capable of covering, way better than Major Burns actually in that position too. So he can actually be that extra secondary for you, really, in that package. But it's also to get that extra linebacker on the field, not just have the two. Um, you can very easily have him be, deep in secondary, kind of guarding nobody, and the offense is stupid, and they're not going at him, not having him go and having somebody match up against him, which is why you should see a lot of motions against our secondary to try and test our guys, try and drag Harold Perkins into coverage away from the line of scrimmage, try and drag Greg Penn the third into coverage away from the line of scrimmage, which is what killed us last year. Greg Penn the third allowed, I think it was 3 or 4 catching touchdowns. Ah. So a lot of people allowed passing touchdowns last year on our defense. I'm not calling anybody out. We actually put in a pretty complimentary Greg Penn the third profile article, and think he, second leading tackler on the team. He's going to be a guy that should be good for this team. But I think really the secondary, it's all rely on how they're wanting to set up the linebackers. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we want more linebackers on the field? You're going to see, Harold Perkins maybe move back to the star. Major Burns out of the picture. As far as safeties and corners, there's so many candidates. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to stick with Jordan Gilbert and Sage Ryan at safeties, but they could very easily go with Kylan Jackson and Sage Ryan back there as safety. Um, they could go with Kylan Jackson and Deshaun McBride if they wanted to go for total youth and length. Um, they could seriously have a rotation at safety that could get the best of all of these worlds. You could have Sage Ryan in the perfect moments where he can be a ball hawk and go pick off passes and jump routes, and then you can have these perfect packages where you've got Deshaun McBride there with his length. So when they throw the ball over the top of our head, he's there always able to get underneath it and basically just be like a huge shield and just shut that shit down. They're not even going to try to throw it over him. They've seen the film from the spring game, that pick he had on AJ Swan, and some. What is he, like, 6'3", 6'4"? Like, he's ridiculous. He's and the jump, the wingspan is ridiculous for him. Cole Adams says we good in Texas today. King Cole Adams, what's up, my brother? That's why we were like, we got to shout out Texas as well, because that's what King Cole is. And got more than a few from Texas. Texas shows out LSUODYSSEY all the time, and we love our Texas Tigers. Like, that's the thing is people forget how cool some of the stuff that comes from Texas. Some of the greatest people in music have come from Texas. Some of the greatest people in art. When you're talking about music, film, literature, all of it. Talking about football, sports. Like half of the greats have come from Texas. I swear to God. Like, and then football. Talking about professional too. Louisiana is ridiculous, and I think Texas is right up there as well. When you're talking about like highest number per capita, it's crazy. Texas should always be right up there. They're massive. It's unbelievable how many small towns are in Texas. It is literally a country unto itself, almost. I'm wondering what part of Texas are you from, Cole? If you don't mind me asking. Cole says, I think Caleb has the better shot at the Heisman if he catches the ball in the backfield. We know he likes trucks. Yeah, Caleb's not going to win a Heisman this year. Like, let's temper that down. Like, Caleb Jackson could literally have a 2,000-yard season, and I don't think they're going to give him the Heisman this season. It's almost like the Heisman Heisman Trust has to feel like you are ready for it. Like whether that even if you're a true freshman winning the Heisman, okay, he's ready. Like they just have to know that dude's ready. And Caleb Jackson in his third season doing that type of stuff, LSU being successful because of it, of course. Yes, I can see him being right there for that Heisman conversation. But it's almost like the contribution of the running back, Cole, is just being forgotten. Don't you think? Lately, I've seen some very weird awards given out offensively where I'm like, we have just completely discounted the existence of this running back or this guy who put up this amount of yards and was a dual threat out of the backfield as well. It wasn't just running the football. So you had a dual threat type of thing. Oh my God, don't tell me this YouTube video has been on in the background this whole time. I just I get the hype with Caleb Jackson, and I am right there with it. I just want him to kind of have an evolution here, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I want him to have kind of build to this. You know what I'm saying?
35-yard line, and then eventually out of bounds. Bringing the wood, Caleb Jackson.
There's guys on this
looks
team
very close to a first down. Isaac Smith
really have a lot
got the stiff arm to spring him loose.
Really have a lot.
And then it was Isaac Smith rather on the back end that took the brunt of that hit. And you almost heard oohs and ahs from the Bulldog fans here after watching Jackson just decimate the Bulldog defense up that far sideline.
We might have to check with Jim Nickel. Doug, I don't remember a running back delivering a blow like that since Nickel.
I think LSU I don't remember a running back delivering a blow like that since Caleb Jackson has a big year. So I'm right there with you. I think they need all three of those guys to contribute in
complete second down, 11 at the 24. Two receivers right, one to the left. Jackson going to get the carry. Stiff arms a man at the 25. Punishes another Bulldog up around the 35-yard line. And then eventually out of bounds. Bringing the wood, Caleb Jackson. Looks very close to a first down. Isaac Smith got the stiff arm to spring him loose. And then it was Isaac Smith rather on the back end that took the brunt of that hit. And you almost heard oohs and ahs from the Bulldog fans here after watching Jackson just decimate the Bulldog defense up that far sideline.
I might have to check with Jim Nickel. Doug, I don't remember a running back delivering a blow like that since Leonard Fournette, Ole Miss. That breakout game where he introduced that Ole Miss quarterback to his left shoulder. I mean, what a blow that was.
Like 12-yard gain. Two receivers left, one to the right. Snap to Daniels. Fakes the pitch out to Jackson. Now we'll throw it to him on the swing pass. Far side, Jackson crushes a defender at the 35. And then eventually out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Eugene Asante got planted out wide by Caleb Jackson, who's making a name for himself as hammer meeting nail.
don't know why
13 yards, first down and 10.
Have a rotation.
Mark it at the Auburn 32-yard line.
You're just going to want to ride that hot hand, right? So I get you. I get you. Caleb Jackson needs to get the football. He needs to get the football at least 15 times a game. But how many carries is there to go around? You've got him getting 15 carries. You're going to at least want to get Josh around 10. And then John Emery Jr., what condition is he going to be in to contribute? When is he going to be able to play? Is he, already in summer workouts, everything looking good? Or are we going to have to wait this out till like October? And once again, for another season, yet another season, John Emery Jr. misses like the first game or two. I hope to God that's not the case. I've been told that John Emery Jr.'s knee is close to 100%. But just because of that information does not make me believe that he's in summer workouts just yet. I haven't heard that from anyone yet. I have to see footage of that first. I have to see, hear from the players if he's been out there with them at summer workouts. So, and the same thing about, interesting. I want to get into this before I forget about it. Zy Alexander. I've been looking into whether he's back for LSU. And somebody told me that it is looking like it might be something that is continuously delayed here, and that he might not be healthy at all until like August, maybe even late last week of August. So we're talking about Zy Alexander potentially not even having a fall camp either. That's weird. That's weird. And it totally puts the onus on, Javian Toviano, Ashton Stamps, PJ Woodland, J.K. Johnson, Jair Brown, the two Ohio State transfers to go, hey, we're going to take over these positions out wide, And it's really, I'm really intrigued about the corner spots. I'm really intrigued about the safety spots, as we just said. Running back, though, that's going to be a war. It's going to be a war, too. So, I mean, there's just so many spots that are going to be decided with a lot of battle, a lot of practicing, attrition this fall camp. And I cannot wait to be covering it live for all of you for LSUODYSSEY.COM. We will hopefully be doing live streams from practice. If we can afford to get down there, we will be down there every second we can. So watch out for that. Stay tuned for that, and support if you want to help us in our mission to get down there. Cole Adams answers the question I asked when I said, where are you from in Texas? He says he's from Canyon Lake, Texas, north of San Antonio. Interesting. How hot is it today? Cole Adams says, yes, I don't think Caleb will be, but he will be the offensive lead dog. Exactly. Even if he's not the starter, does it matter? No. It's more of almost like a, decoration or something. Uh-oh. Can you say it? Can you say uh-oh? Uh-oh.
Oh.
Say what's up, Sadie. Cole Adams says, I think Durham reminds me of Jamari Gibbs. We're in good shape at running back. Oh, dude. Jamari Gibbs is a freak, and I hated playing against him. And we were fortunate to beat those guys in 2022 in a lot of ways, even though I think we controlled that game and were the better team. Jamari Gibbs was so close to breaking some plays on us that some shoestring tackles just barely kept him, I think he had over 100 yards or like 90 or something on us that game. We kept him caged somewhat, and it was because he was just this close from breaking it left, right, and center. Could have had literally like a 300-yard game every game he played. Like, I'm a big fan of him and really hate that he went to Alabama. What a talent. He was so fun to watch in high school. My God, that guy. Cole Adams says, yeah, Zy Alexander and B.K. Johnson. B.K. Johnson? Brian Kelly Johnson. I'm just messing with you. I know you're meaning J.K. Johnson. Yeah, so you're saying Zy Alexander and J.K. Johnson will be your 2 starting corners? Is that what you're saying, Cole? So we're doing this live summer workouts, ultimate Q&A. We're just shoot away any question you may have about the team, about LSU, about anything that you're thinking about what pertaining with the size of our face, any type of weird, strange questions that you may have. We are down for any of it and all of it. Bring it. So that's the thing. People call it the dog days of summer, and yet there have been some going-ons already that have been very surprising for a lot of you, including the John Emery Jr. news, LSU having just one swing, one miss at defensive tackle after another. And now we're doing a lot of recruiting. Dylan Berryman, a must-sign defensive tackle, 2026 defensive tackle, was visiting on campus today. We had, of course, Decorian Moore, as we got into on our last live stream. Him come through with just a very rare single weekend where just one family, one player is getting all of the team's attention, all of the staff's attention. Incredible. That's what Decorian Moore was treated to at LSU. And Joe Sloan's had a few different 2026 top 10 quarterbacks on campus. They've been casting quite a wide net here. Bryce Underwood, I believe, was on campus recently, right? One second, everybody. Wow. That's a very sometimes I'm wondering when I watch what Garrett Nussmeier did last year for LSU, and I'm thinking, is it, could it just be a mirage and he's really not that good, and LSU are actually going to have a moment where they're just not quite offensively together and lose a game they should not have lost? Like to USC opening this season. That is a game, I'm just going to say right now, that is a game LSU should not be losing. If by any realm of imagination, LSU should not be losing that game to USC. And I'm not going to... all hell would break loose if we lost that game. It would be incredible. I mean, how many openers are LSU going to lose? That's why we cannot start this season like that. We cannot start the season with a loss, bleeding in a new quarterback, new offensive coordinating partnership. 2 new receivers who want to say, I'm the next Malik, I'm the next Justin, I'm the next, Jamar. You got Kyron and Chris who want to be those next guys. You've got a tight end who is that close to being a record breaker, and a bunch of guys behind him who could really start 2 on this team. You've got a bevy of running backs who really could make Frank Wilson the proudest, happiest running backs coach in the country this season if we maximize their potential behind that offensive line. It could be something special. You have an offensive line that is the number 1 offensive line in the country, the best in America. No one can tell me otherwise. The best offensive line in the country. They were Joe Moore Award finalists last year. If they were Joe Moore Award finalists last year, you bet your ass with what they're going to be battling this season and how pivotal they're going to be this season, they're going to be right there in that mix for being the best in the country. And if they're even up for the award with the performances you would expect from these guys, they're going to do it. Look at who they go to when LSU have this must-have drive. Lacey with a big catch right there. Okay, this is the must-have winning drive. And then look at this. Deep shot from Nuss to Hilton. So you had a big play from Lacey, big play from Hilton, and then I believe the game-winning touchdown from Brian Thomas Jr. right there, who was just always automatic. But if you want to know if Chris Hilton Jr., if Kyron Lacey can do it with the game on the line, I think you've already got your evidence and proof right there. I mean, Lacey, it's not like this was his only good game. His best game of the season was against Auburn. And here's another thing, too. Kyron Lacey's blocking on the outside is so sensational. I think you'll see him on the field just pretty much every play. Look at this play here. Can Chris Hilton Jr. do it? Well, I don't know. Boom. From behind, LSU have to have it. Boom. Get the foot in. You betcha. And look at this. Oh, Noah Kane has a nice send-off there. So it's very interesting to see this game, watch this back, because LSU weren't perfect. LSU's defense put them up against every impossible situation here. Harold Perkins scoring a touchdown. But there are so many flashes of just some absolute majesty. And actually, literally what I was just saying, Bruce Douglas says, Lon, how good is the offense going to be? Could we regress? Was literally about to talk about the offense. We were talking about the offense. What am I talking about? But kind of wanted to tie a bow on it with saying, like, this offense could be special. It could be absolutely elite. It could even be better than 2023. It could also have some moments where we're really rusty, where we're just kind of disjointed, not really got our bearings together. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is a possibility. It's not a given that just because you plug in this guy, you plug in that guy, and this guy's familiar with that dude, and this guy used to do this, and everything's going to be fine. That was their first game calling plays, and it's not. There's going to be a lot more pressure on the regular season in 2024 than there will be for the ReliaQuest Bowl in January 1st, 2024, if you catch my drift. So, point is, I don't think it really has to be like, ooh, they scored more points than 2023 did per game. That would make them successful. Or, they rushed for more yards, or they threw for more yards. I think it's just all about how much does this offense control games, keep the defense off the field as much as possible so that they can, get it together. Blake Baker and his new coaching staff, all these guys coming back onto this team, all these coaches who are new to these players, some actually very familiar, some of the veterans, because some of these guys were on the 2021 staff, of course. When you're talking about Baker, you're talking about Raymond, you're talking about Jake Olson. It's really all about getting all these ingredients together and making sure that you keep that. You want to control games with the offensive line in this season, I think. You don't want the defense to go out there for drive after drive after drive. That was something that screwed our defense over last year. I doubt they even had chances to really pick their heads out of their asses as far as the defensive coaching last year, before Jaden Daniels and company had already scored a touchdown and they were having to go back out. So I think this season you use that offensive line, that deep backfield, and you control the game. You control the possession more. You absolutely drain teams so that we can just, when we throw the football, we've been abusing and bruising and battering and smattering them all over the field for the last 3 quarters. By the fourth quarter, Garrett Nussmeier is going to have a field day, lighting up the entire field. Just the bomb is going to be wide open deep down. The deep shots are going to be there. The play action is going to be magnificent this season. It should be. This is very interesting, this comment. I love this. Joe Laverne. Should I reveal his identity? Should I reveal Joe's identity? He says, on the offensive side, I think they need to do more. Screen pass to the backs and misdirection plays. I didn't see any of that last year. They need to do stuff like a lot of, like I said earlier on this thing, they've got to do a lot of motioning. They got to get guys in motion, get them already rolling. But not only that, find the mismatches. Last year, it was a lot of just feeding Brian Thomas Jr., feeding Malik Neighbors, and it was pretty easy. And it was beautiful to watch. You're going to have a different animal this year. You're going to have to really pick teams apart and use your weapons wisely and really see some guys rise as playmakers all over the field. I think you're going to see a ton of the screen game. I think you're going to see a lot of screen game. I think you're going to see a lot of, shuttle screens. I think you're going to see a lot of jet sweep action, Aaron Anderson. I think you're going to see some wide receivers motion into the backfield type of stuff. I think you're going to see some wacky formations out there. You're going to see double tight end 12 personnel. You're definitely going to see a lot of times having 2 tight ends on the field, even with how good that offensive line is, just because their versatility and the fact that you can trust them catching the football and they can beat their man with these routes. They can slip through a defense kind of unnoticed, and Garrett Nussmeier will find them, pick them with the football, and they'll have an easy 20 yards because they're not a receiver and everyone's going to pay attention to. I think you will see a lot of rotation. I think you're going to see a lot of different guys out there. I think you're going to see the football spread around as much as possible. And I think that's not because, this guy isn't, fulfilling his end. I think it's just because they want to give the defense as many looks and test them out as much as possible everywhere. Oh, women. Sometimes the things they text. Wow. Louisiana for Life says, Who do you think starts at running back, Jackson or Emery? It could be neither. It could be Josh Williams. I think it doesn't really matter. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. I think it doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter whether it's Caleb Jackson, whether it's Josh Williams, whether it's John Emery. It really doesn't matter who starts. It really doesn't. It matters who gets hot in these games and gets the football the most and has the biggest impact, really. Because I think if you give Caleb Jackson the ball 13, 14 times instead of just 6, I think he's got probably an 80% chance of scoring more. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a player that I think you're going to see him have those home run hitting abilities from all over the field. John Emery Jr. should, if his knee is, in the same spot it was when he was making that juke that we all saw last year, and if his knee is in the same spot where, he's that Bayou Blur, where he is just take it to the limit type of speed, then I think everything can be very special with running back. I don't think it really matters who starts. But I think it will be Josh Williams who's going to start. I think it will be Josh. And I don't think it's because, John isn't good enough, or because Caleb didn't do enough, or because whatever. I think it's mostly just almost like a, how do we put this? Like a ceremonial thing. Like, Josh, you're like almost the icon of the running back room. Like, been here so long throughout all of it. Earned, went from a walk-on to a scholarship starter. That's a guy you start. That's a guy you give the football to on day one. And that's also a guy you give the football to, I think, when it's goal line, on the 1, 4th and 1, you're down by 4, down by 5, you have to score. Because Josh is going to get in. There's plays where he was able to, in 2022, some of the things he did from 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 18, 3rd and 20 was absolutely insane. I believe against Arkansas alone, he had something like 3 different conversions from 3rd and 10 plus. It was crazy. And a lot of those were way, 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 way long. We're talking about these delayed draws that usually go nowhere, And he just had this ability to sneakily take it and just go running and just nobody get in his way. Almost not even noticing that he has the football. And which is just brilliant if you're a running back and you have the ability to be like a chameleon. And it's funny. Some of the conversions he had in 2022 were just like, wow. And really, if you look at it, last year, yeah, Josh Williams getting the football does stick out in my mind a lot. John Emery Jr. doesn't that well at all. 2022, definitely John Emery. John Emery Jr. made our top 10 Tigers of 2022. He was so effective. Scoring in every big game, scoring at decisive moments, setting the tone, dual threat that we absolutely needed on offense that year. He was absolute pinnacle for us, even when getting the ball limited. But I don't really remember Josh Williams getting the ball that much last year either. And it's because of his injuries. And it's because Jaden Daniels running the damn thing. So, Josh's numbers were very meager last year. I think it was like 200 yards or something total, and he had something like 500 in 2022. So the offense, the offense will be the same. Like, the offense is going to be drastically different to your eyes. because it's just not going to have that running quarterback component. It's going to be very different on that scale, because you're going to think because of that, you're going to think it's more conservative by how much we're going to be running the football or throwing it short, dink and dunk. It'll ring in your mind as more of a conservative possession-based offense. I think that's going to be absolutely a stupid way to think about it, because I think it's going to be an offense that, if used to its ultimate capabilities as a dink and dunk, run it down your throats, traditional with like a bunch of new school mixed in as well, a type of spread, a spread West Coast kind of attack. I think you do that with Garrett Nussmeier and the weapons that we have, the offensive line that we have, you could absolutely dominate games. And you have a defense that's improving, that's showing that it can get better with massively better coaching. I think it's a very good recipe here if you run that type of an offense. Cole Adams says, no, I think PJ will be a starter, but I'd like to have those options. I really think we're going to play a lot of situation football with squads changing between downs. Who do you mean? I'm confused now at this point. PJ, are you talking about PJ Woodland? Like, are we talking about corner now? I thought we were talking about offense. I'm confused. Joe Laverne says, on the offensive side, they need to do more. Oh, wait, we already read his comment. Sorry. King Cole says, it may not be the first few weeks, but I really believe we'll see 5 or 6 players changing out based on down and distance on defense. Yeah, I can see that. Because I just think you've got a lot of different profiles on defense of guys that you want to use for different things. You've got guys who, I think Savion Jones has extremely epic, untapped potentials as a pass rusher. And I think we're almost going to lose him, the essence of what makes him great, if we try to make him into a DT. I feel like we already did, making him gain weight, 280 pounds. I don't think we saw the best Savion Jones last year because of that. In fact, you can go back and watch the film and see him missing some sacks just barely when he's right there to make the play. And it's like, I think he would have made the play had he been, his regular weight. I absolutely, definitely believe that. So then you take that number. Savion Jones would have had a 10-sack season, 10.5 sacks last year, had they kept him at his regular weight. I'm not joking with you. You go back and you watch the pressures where he is right on top of the quarterback and he barely gets rid of the ball. That's a split-second difference. You chop off 7-8 pounds, 10 pounds that he gained that offseason. You make that sack. You and I know that he makes that sack if he's 10 pounds lighter. He's already there. He's already killing the guy. It's a strip sack, whatever. It's a forced incompletion. They review it or whatever. It's so much. He would have been so much more effective. Almost 10 sacks basically last season. I think it would have been 10.5. So you have a guy that, like him, you got Parashon, the guy that could, I think, would benefit more from being kicked inside. You have Dominic McKinley coming in, a 5-star who really, I think he actually might be ready. You watch him play, I think he actually might be ready for the big time this soon. I'm not 100% sure. I think fall camp very early, we'll know. But I'm very excited what I've seen from the young defensive linemen like Gabe Relaford and Dominic McKinley. I think for the future defensive line, it's going to improve drastically. But we might have to wait. This season might be rough defensive line. And King Cole, I think that's really the secret to it. If LSU rotate in the right way, the right players, the right personnel with the right, opposition packages facing them, the right formations, just get the best out of these guys, the right matchups. You get Braden Swinson on a one-on-one with a really weakened right tackle. He's going to kill him every time. You get Jacoby and Guillory one-on-one with a center. He's going to eat him alive every time. It's when he's doubled with a center and a guard, he's got the trouble. LSU have to be able to attack from all points of this defensive line, not just simply hold the line of scrimmage and just kind of hold serve. Watching what happened last year with our defensive line was ghastly, everybody. It was ghastly. I don't know about you, but I think last year was the worst defensive line in LSU history. I really do. And that's a season when we had Mekhi Wingo, an All-American, who I think is going to have a long NFL career. Mason Smith, a top 50 draft pick, and a player with generational athletic ability. Jacoby and Guillory, this year's starter, was like our fourth string DT. And that's not to diminish anything with Jacoby and Guillory, what he could be, his potential for this season. Because with a coach like Bo Davis, he is going to make sure everything Jacobian does on the field, Big Tank does on the field in the practice room, is top notch. He's going to make sure he knows where to put his hands. He's going to make sure he knows how violent to be. He's going to make sure he always keeps that rage going. He's going to make sure he gets into that backfield. He's going to make sure he stops that run, clogs those lanes. We've already seen Jacoby and Guillory bat a pass up into the air, which Sage Ryan was, picked off, one of his three that he picked off in that one game. Big Money Production says, love this channel. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. That means a lot. I can't believe that. I think that means a ton to me, man. I'm not gonna post what this My Cash dude just posted. What the hell? Like, whatever your feelings on Joe Biden, like, fine, but I'm not ever gonna advocate hurting anybody. That's messed up. The only way I would ever hurt somebody is if they were about to, like, hurt my family right in front of my eyes. What are you going to do? Obviously, you're going to defend your family. If they were about to attack some innocent person and I'm about to just sit back and just, like, watch it happen, no, we're going to jump in and do what we can to stop the situation. Other than that, violence is completely unnecessary. Always causes more problems. So this My Cash guy, we're actually going to we're just going to do something we didn't. That's something we've never done before. We just banned that guy from the chat. I don't want someone advocating political assassination in my chat. Sorry, that's kind of nuts. Kind of where I draw the line is when people like that are involved in. King Cole Adams says, this may sound blasphemous, but I believe Nussmeier will have a better first year than Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels had first year. He won't be their second year good yet. What? Okay. So you're saying Nussmeier will have a better first year than Daniels and Burrow. Hey, I've made that argument already, buddy. I've made that argument. You've probably watched me make that argument. You know why? And here's why I agree with you. Nuss has already been in the foxhole. He's already been through every situation you can as a quarterback. He's been thrown into the games at so many different times over his career. Think about it. 2021 Arkansas. And he does that spin move, throws that bomb to Jack Besh. Okay. You've got the game against Wisconsin, his first start. He goes in there, has an MVP performance. You've got him coming into the SEC championship game against Georgia. You've got all these random moments with Nussmeier, and he's had to really come into his own. He's had to figure it out on the fly, thrown into games, barely any time to prepare. Usually against really top teams. There's usually due to an injury to the quarterback, and I just am stunned by how good Garrett Nussmeier has been in an LSU uniform, even when thrown into games with absolutely no preparation, just thrown in completely cold. Look at that throw to Malik. Are you kidding me? And look how fast Malik is. Like, you think he's overthrown Malik, and Malik's just almost like overruns it. Man, just imagine this offense this year if Malik would have stayed. Oh, my God. Malik would have put up 2,500 yards this season if he would have stayed with Nuss. My God, they would have been throwing it for fun. Look at that. Ooh, out to Brian Thomas Jr. there. This is another Southern 2022 highlights. Some garbage time, but see, once again, a continuous thread here where he has a lot of dump-offs, where he's trusting the running back, hey, go get me that 5-6 yards. Try and get me that first down. And look at that. I think it's Noah Kane. He gets 9 yards on that play. Because it's very hard to tackle that play. You're in motion. It's very hard to tackle that play first time by yourself. It's going to take 2 or 3 guys. Jeez. Is that Malik again? Because, this is ridiculous from Malik Neighbors. I cannot believe some of the stuff Malik Neighbors did. Oh, my God, it is. What a move. And that guy's just shaking his head like, what do I have to do? Nuss throws a bomb again. Ooh. Another bomb to Neighbor. Oh, my good Lord. Oh, if Neighbors just kind of cuts his route just to the left a bit and kind of jumps back in, he gets that. But it's very hard to tell someone to do that when they're running that fast just to get there. This was a touchdown. And I think you might see a lot of this type of stuff this year because look at how Nuss throws the screen. And he can throw the screen tighter and better than this too. But look at that. Perfect timing. Let your playmakers do the rest. That was the problem with so many LSU offenses in 2020, 2021, and a lot of parts of 2022 when you're talking about passing. So many times we didn't just throw the ball up, give the guy a chance, let him make a play after the catch. Just get him the football and let him go to work. And when you got weapons like, we've seen on here already, Chris Hilton Jr., Kyron Lacey, Caleb Jackson, dual threat, triple threat, really when you're talking about special teams. We may have lost Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., but we've got a bevy of weapons. Xavion Thomas and Aaron Anderson. Fast as all get up. Absolute freaks. We were at this game watching Garrett Nussmeier absolutely rope-a-dope the number 1 team in the nation. It was, that throw was just ridiculous right there to Kayshawn. Are you fucking kidding me? Garrett Nussmeier, oh my God. You sick fuck. Oh my God, look at that one. There is literally vapor trails coming off the ball on this one. Look at that shit. Ooh. 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 I feel like it's an ending of a Prince song right here. Oh! orgasmic. That twirl in the air, the adjustment there from Malik is just ridiculous. This is the play to Jure, right? Oh no, that's another bomb to Malik. Oh, I remember we were all going crazy as fans, even though we were losing. It was like, we've been waiting all year for offense like this. I was high-fiving everyone in our row. Leslie Dupree, one of our favorite people, a big diehard LSU fan, big-time subscriber of LSU Odyssey. Her husband and her father, they're at the game sitting next to me just by chance. It was insane. And we had a hell of a time watching this game, even though LSU lost. It was painful to watch at times. Garrett Nussmeier made it such an experience because we fought like hell. Look at that, 23-50. I get it. But we're racking up all these yards against Georgia's defense. We're debilitating the crap out of these guys. They're at the point where they're like, we've given up. We're already going to win. But, like, they didn't feel good about this game at all. 30-50. Like this should have been a game that was like 50-7, And instead, Garrett Nussmeier was wheeling, dealing, and just ripping them apart. Yes, he threw an interception, and the pass was almost akin to like a punt. I get it. He was not perfect. But in the situation, off the bench, in the SEC title game, and you've been preparing like Jaden Daniels might not be able to play all week, but then Jaden Daniels is playing, and you're just like, he's not going to come off the field. He's the Terminator. He's not going to come off the field. But then things start going wrong. Things start going bad, and he's getting hurt. He's getting walloped. And this is just – I have to get ready here. I think Nussmeier knew it was coming and made sure he was ready. And look at that escape artist play. And then, boom, Dre Jenkins, good night. This play just like the Arkansas turn out of pressure and then the bomb to Besh. But Besh, I think the Arkansas play may have even been better. But that escape is disgusting. I don't know. This play might even be better. Although, yeah, that play might. Oh, my God. That play is ridiculous from Nussmeier. I think this play is actually better because it's a historic defensive line and defense he's doing this against. A number one back-to-back champion defense that he did this against, and then did on the run. It's all on the run. It's all off platform. It's insane. Look at the fucking velocity on this thing. I mean, this is like the Statue of Liberty being anointed in the sky by Jerry Garcia's guitar. I mean, this is just, it is like I have seen the light. I have seen the forest through the trees. Look at this. Oh my God. Malik has got to catch that. Oh, Malik. Come on. Come on, Leak. The Cheez-It Bowl. Remember the Cheez-It Bowl, everybody? Oh, my God, that thing. And then Cortez Hankton runs over there. Whoever, stop attacking the Cheez-It, man. Save that dude's life. Look at the vision from Nuss. The progressions there. And then he puts that ball where only Kyron's going to get that thing. Ooh. He's just always knowing who to get the football to as well because he's feeding Malik. What a play. This is so beautiful and so simple. And we don't see it enough. Other quarterbacks we've seen are going to force it here, force it there where you're basically just going to get tackled right here. Someone's also going to come down to help him. You're screwed. Nussmeier waits for this to develop. Even though he's not quite sure maybe this guy is going to come around Emery, maybe he is about to get hit. He still comes up in the pocket and just waits for him to cross, and then deep. And he doesn't quite wait, but he just hesitates just enough and then hits Brian, so he's in stride. And he knows that, the second Brian Thomas Jr. makes this catch, he's gone. It's a touchdown right here. Watch. It's gone. It's done. No one is catching him. It's over. This isn't BYU. Okay. This isn't, ULL. This isn't Syracuse. We have athletes that this 7 yards, it's gone. It's done. You don't have to be a superstar track. Like, you're hungrier for those yards than these guys. It's done. And so you've got a guy like Garrett Nussmeier who's going to be thrown to weapons like that all season. And maybe they're not of the ultimate quality of a Malik, of a Brian Thomas Jr. right now. But I don't really compare these guys because they're just different players. That was a really weird release, slow release there from Nuss. Hey, Bubba. What's up, Seiji? I think you've had too much sugar. Everybody, we will be taking a momentary pause here due to the insanity of a certain toddler. This madman who literally is trying to steal everything out. You cannot eat that much fruit by the foot at once, Sage. Even I shouldn't be. This isn't built or fit for human consumption, but it is. What's up, Bubba? You guys like his haircut? Seiji, say hi. Wave. Wave, go. Seiji, I'm Seiji. You say, I'm Sage. You say, hi, I'm Sage. You say, hi, I'm Seiji. I'm the Seiji man. Everybody, thank you for watching. Absolutely peace and love to all of you. I want to especially thank some people who credited officially our breaking news on John Emery Jr. Because it doesn't happen enough. The official, people actually giving people's, the appropriate hard work credit, which you see all over the place, not just in our case, but in many cases, and sometimes in even their case. But I want to thank Jacques Doucet, Shay Dixon, Wilson Alexander. Who else? That's all I can think of right now. But they officially credit us for that story, which was obviously the right thing to do since we were first and most accurate, which is an undefeated combination right there. And I wanted to thank them for doing that. That's really something, obviously, they don't have to do, as you've seen with some people, some media sources, entities. And so it was very cool of them to do that. And I really appreciate what they've done and absolutely look up to those guys. And everybody, stay cool because it is just way too damn hot. Like I constantly feel like I'm like turning up this AC, just like deep, like come on, damn it. Actually, it's rather that AC gets to the point where it's almost too cold. Like you can really freeze yourself out in here. Like it's nuts. So it's all about finding that balance. Hopefully, it's gonna just be in the 70s. All summer. We don't have to deal with this extreme humidity, but that's kind of a pipe dream. So we might as well just get used to it and get used to the blaze and embrace the blaze. And I've also found that if I don't shave, like the second I have like a little bit of stubble like this, it is like almost intolerable. Like I just can't stand it. Like it feels like I'm wearing a blanket on my face. It just feels terrible. And so I just can't wait to shave. And so didn't think I had this much stubble this soon already, but got to shave already because it just feels just bleh. Summer can be a time where you feel amazing because it's really hot and it's nice out, or you feel just really gross because it is. It's really either or. Sometimes both, and usually when you have children, often at the same time. Everybody, have a good one, and we'll be talking to you very, very soon.